Wes, I'm conflicted right now because I don't think any of my co-hosts have been on the right show on the right day for like weeks now. I don't know what to think when it's Wednesday and you're here.
Well, I'll just say this. Every Wednesday is West Day, whether or not I'm here.
That's true.
And every other day is West Day in my life. So I don't know what you speak of. I haven't had these issues. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're right. It has been weird for a while. I'm coming in on Friday, and then sometimes I'm not, and then Miles is not around, and then AJ's doing back-to-back shows. Cats and dogs are friends, and I don't remember what the line was from
Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Listen, if anybody knows Ghostbusters, it's this guy. Well, no, I take it back. If anyone knows Ghostbusters 1 and 2, it's this guy. Fuck everything that happened after that.
Right.
All right. Yeah, you want, since we're both here and it's Wednesday, you want to do a show?
Yeah, we should do it before I drop out and AJ steps in.
Hell yeah, let's go. This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 hours Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure. But we care so much about your oral pleasure. That's why we upload this thing to podcast services of your choice. I was just thinking I didn't upload one on Monday, but we didn't do one on Monday. But thankfully, I was always sick for like 2 days. Back to normal. Everything's great. Going to be getting on a plane tomorrow. So good thing that sickness is over. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here without Parole. This guy over here to my left, to your right. It is Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers. Hello, Wes.
Hello, Brian. Hello, Game Cats. How's it going? So you got the illness in and out of your system, so you have slightly heightened immunity stepping into Las Vegas, and you're going to be infected immediately like everyone else. We're all coming back from Vegas with some sort of bug of some sort.
I'm shooting
hopefully
for
we have fun getting them.
I'm shooting for an STD personally. I don't know about you. It's not maybe not what you're going for.
I think it's a safe bet that at least half of the illnesses contracted will be STDs.
Fuck yeah. I'm so excited. Salvador says he's doing some last minute packing. I can't, it feels so weird, man. It felt so weird on Friday to know that Miles was already in the States. And I was like, oh my God, it feels, because I'm never the first person to arrive at these things, never, right? And so like while I'm packing, while I'm doing a GamesCast, while I'm getting some last minute reviews done, while I'm super late all the time to everything, so I'm running out the door at the absolute last second, seeing people already before I even get on a plane, before I even get in the car, before I do anything, before I even leave these four walls, there are pictures of Game Cats hanging out together, already drinking and doing. And it always feels so weird, and so, but it feels extra weird knowing that this started on Friday. Miles has been in the States since Friday, so pretty crazy. I'm here for it.
So for what it's worth, Miles is in the States. He is not in Vegas, and he will not arrive in Vegas until after we do.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Right. He's going to be later than we are, and he's already flown. For what it's worth, I have not begun to pack. Yeah, I fly tomorrow, and I've got empty suitcases here. I've been busy trying to, get ahead on work enough to where I can remain mostly gone for the next week and nothing fall apart. With that being said, shout out to Chinatown D. I know D is on the ground in Vegas as of today.
What?
And yeah.
Holy crap.
Shout out to any of the other cats who may already be in town. I'll see you all tomorrow. Actually, I'll probably see you on Friday because my flight does not land until midnight local tomorrow night. So it'll probably be Friday morning before I see everyone, but I'm looking forward to it very much.
Yeah, I'm a little bit jealous because the fact that you're actually getting in at midnight and you can check in and actually spend the night there and like wake up and like you're already there. No, I am leaving my apartment at 4 a.m. to be in Boston for 5 a.m. for a 7 a.m. flight. And I'm like, wait, at what point do I sleep during this? So I'm going to be in Vegas at 10:30 a.m. ready for bed. Like, so I feel like I screwed up a little.
Let me just give you this bit of advice. Take your time. You're going to be there early on Thursday. Take a few hours, man. Don't just dive into it. I know how it feels. You get off the plane. You're absolutely drained from the trip. You walk into the hotel lobby. There's a group of people waiting for you. And then it just starts from there, and it doesn't end until you go back home. So, yeah, if you can manage to get to your room and get checked in before being seen too many times, I would advise you to take a few hours, hit that bed, and recharge your batteries, because it's going to be a time, man, where you're going to need your energy.
Yeah, so I'll actually be there Friday morning. That Friday morning at 10:30 a.m. And
Friday morning, okay.
Yeah, and again, I'm kind of wishing that I had gotten there earlier, but yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm trying not to stress out about it too much. It seems like there's lots of great stuff to do, and I think we have the perfect size group, right? Like, we don't have like 100 people showing up. We've got a good size group, good people, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So not too worried about it.
I agree. I'm so much looking forward to it. I haven't gone anywhere on any kind of trip, I don't think, since GameScat meetup last year. So
yeah, same.
Yeah, I need a break. I need a vacation. And I'm very much looking forward to taking the entire week and getting some relaxation in here and there where we can.
Guys, completely forgot to pin anything to the chat, but we do have a GoFundMe that's still going strong. At this point, we have raised $10,221. Thank you, everybody who has helped out. Can you believe that much money has come from 162 people? Like, that is
insane. Of course, we've had everyone who donated. Thank you so much. I know it seems like a pretty big number. That money's going to be gone in no time, so we very much appreciate it. But yeah, man, we had a few very, very generous donors, some of which who were anonymous. And I just want to say again, if I haven't said it enough already, thank you so much. You literally are what's making this possible. And like Brian has said, I don't know if we're going to do this again next year or not, but if we do, it is entirely due to you guys making it so easy for us to do. So thank you again to everyone who donated. Thank you to anyone who is still yet to donate and thinking about it. We appreciate you so much for making this possible.
Absolutely. Right. Like, you see a number that big and you go, oh man, it must be a couple thousand people who all donated like $5 or something. And it's not. Is the smallest number I could possibly imagine. So massive shout out to you guys. And I know a lot of you guys support the channel in all sorts of different ways. So just because you're not supporting us, some of you, the people who are not supporting us on the GoFundMe, we appreciate however it is that you help out the channel, no matter what it is, even if it's literally just sitting and watching an ad or something before GamesCast or something, or clicking the like button or hyping a video on the channel. It all helps in their own ways. So thank you guys. You're all amazing. Speaking of people who help out the channel, I think we got to check out some of these tips, Wes. Starting with, I got to cover you up just a little bit here to go all the way up to Comic Book Guy Game Cat with the $1. Thank you so much for your generosity. Scrolling down to Andrew Ehrenreich with the $5. Says, it is with a heavy heart that I come to you fine folks to break this news. I did not enjoy EXD Extradimensional.
What?
What? He does clarify a little bit more in his follow-up level 2 membership, saying to be clear, I like things about it. Love the concept and the story they set up, but the game does not deliver at all. Pretty graphics though. I heard him say in our Discord that the combat sucks. So I am very, very curious about this, Wes. And as always, I am thrilled to not be a beta tester for this game. I am thrilled that I did not play this on Steam. I am thrilled that they got some time to patch this thing up and deliver a finalized, better playing version when it finally makes its way to PSVR2 later, supposedly this year.
Yeah. Well, again, I gave some first impressions of this title last time I was on, whenever that was. Um, but I haven't played into enough to really comment on combat. Um, and I'm wondering if this is a situation like Wanderer, where they nail everything but the combat, and we want to crap on the game because this one thing isn't good, or if is the game, built centrally around the combat functionality, and it sucks. Questions, and I'm a bit surprised again to hear him say this, because I've heard so many other people, like literally a dozen other people, say that this is going to be game of the year this year. People who've played further into it than I have. So yeah, that is interesting to say the least.
So it's so fun. Spooky Yuki says, what title? And this is EXD Extradimensional. Literally every time I've brought up this game over the past month, somebody goes, what's that? Like, I feel like I'm just constantly linking the trailer, like constantly. I'm like, well, what is it about this game that, that we featured on PSVR this week dozens of times at this point and talked about on GAMESCAST a multitude of times? You actually delivered your impressions last week. Like, what is it about this title that's so forgettable to people? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know that the production is there. I can comment on that. The story seems intriguing early on. That's really all I can say about it. Like, I was super impressed with what I played, but I literally played like 2 hours or less of it. So like, there's still more to come, obviously.
Well, not that much more, because Andrew again clarifies in the chat, combat sucks and the game literally ends right when it should be starting. He says it's 5 hours long, which, listen, I know it's 2026 and we've been playing VR games for a decade now, but like, VR games have not evolved in the way that I think we all thought they would over the course of 10 years. 10 years ago, we were like, oh, another experience, another short game. Why are all VR games short? Blah, 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 the whole thing. And so when a game is 5 hours long in VR, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. That said, I think I understand what he's saying. I think he's saying it's ramping up, it's just starting to get good, and credits roll, right? And so I'm wondering how it ends. Don't tell us, Andrew, but I am wondering, like, is this the case of like, man, we made this thing and we just want it to be as good as possible from beginning to end, and like, and then once we get the funds from this, maybe we can start work on EXD2. I have no idea. I'm just speculating, Andrew, but we can talk in private a little bit better.
Yeah, I think pricing is going to have a little bit to play into this conversation. It seems like if they give us 5 premium hours, I think we can probably live with that. If they price it at like 20 or 25 bucks, they shouldn't come out the gate with a $40 price tag if it's doesn't deliver that much content. I think there was a long time where, at least speaking for myself personally, like, I was happy with 5 hours. I remember a day when I was hopeful that we get 5 hours, right? Because a lot of the experiences we were getting were 2 and 3 hours. Like, Transference comes to mind. Great production value, done in 2 hours. Yeah. So like, I think we're past that now. Like, 5 hours is the low water mark for me now. It needs to be at least 5 hours. But I think we're more in line now, that where I'm hopeful for 10 to 15 for a premium title, single player story driven experience. I'd like to get 10 hours in on these days. But yeah, there are exceptions to that's not a hard and fast rule. So yeah, I hope, for what it's worth, everyone has different tastes, and a lot of people seem to be raving about this one. So I'm going to reserve judgment, but I am going to continue to play as well. So I'll let you all know what I think when I get a little more time in.
And I won't play jack shit till it gets here on PSVR2, the place it belongs. Blah 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 blah. PSVR2 hype. Yeah, console wars, baby. Let's go. Yeah, I'm not concerned. 5 hours. I just checked the Steam page. It's $30. Like, I don't know. Like, for a VR only game, I don't believe it's coming to Quest, right? So the audience for it's pretty small. I'm like $30 doesn't seem totally out of question. But like, listen, it all depends. This is so funny. We're already talking about the technically in a roundabout way what we're going to be talking about for a majority of the show, which is reviews, right? We just heard Andrew Ehrenreich's review. You were talking about your first impressions. I'm listening to reviews and already trying to form some opinions in my head, which I have absolutely no right to do. Like we are representing the internet as a whole right now. Mouse PI, everyone. Mouse PI. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we making a play on that one? Because I haven't been tuning in lately, and I have seen this Mouse PI. I think it looks amazing. And yeah, I think that certainly is one for us to go for if everyone's on board.
I mean, listen, I'm on board. I'm just curious. I know flat to VR. This the only thing that's making me think that Mouse PI is possible is that flat to VR reinvented the wheel with Trombone Champ, right? Like you guys took a game that was literally a flat screen game, and you had to create all new assets for it to make it in VR. And so I keep looking at Mouse and going, like, all of these first person animations, all the guns in your hands, all the things that your hand's doing, all this rubber hose animation is gonna need to be redone in 3D, I think. And it seems like so much work, but it might be work that's worthwhile. I have no idea.
Yeah, and let me be a little bit more clear about that. When I single out Mouse PI, it's solely based on the fact that I love this aesthetic. I love Cuphead. I love Mouse PI. I love all of this retro animation aesthetic that we've had on a handful of indie games now in the flat space. Someone needs to do this in VR, and the easy one that comes to mind is Bendy and the Ink Machine. There's a few of those Bendy titles, one or more of which have a VR mod available on PC. I'd love to see those get official support. I think that they would work quite well and are very doable. So yeah, when I say Mouse PI, I'm really speaking more toward a larger subgenre of titles, if that makes sense.
Secret Stuff says I'm 4 hours into Mouse PI. It's really good. The bosses are great too. I'm not even halfway through. The map section reminds me of Ghostbusters and Cuphead. Cool. Very cool. Yeah. Honestly, I was going to play this regardless of what the review said. It's so funny too, man. Like, I'm not to jump the gun here, but like everyone's talking about Crimson Desert and IGN's review of it, but people are all over the place with what they think of it. It's so funny when you see a game that like you're like, it doesn't even matter what people say. You just want to play it no matter what. And I feel like I've seen 4 or 5 reviews of Crimson Desert that are just all over the place. And every time I see anyone talking about it, I'm like, I just want to fucking play this. This looks like a game I will play for the next year for an hour a day and be very happy with.
Sometimes I think people, tune into IGN reviews just to laugh at the next one they botch these days. They don't always botch it, but man, every now and then they have an outlier that's just completely out of tune. And we see this more and more frequently where like the reviewers just don't represent the opinions of the masses out there anymore. Like it's almost like, let's wait and see which things they like and not buy them. Let's see which things they don't like and buy them. It seems like there's that big of a disconnect sometimes. But again, I'm referring largely to flat game reviews. So I'm just reporting on what I see, and it's not like I'm playing these games and really have a informed opinion about it.
Yeah, same. Absolutely same. And just in like, not that anybody needs to be rushing to IGN's defense, but it's one person. It's one person that they freelanced, right, for the Mouse PI review. And it's just, these are people who are probably not getting paid very much. And not that the games don't deserve to be, that the reviews don't deserve like the love and the care that they need. But it's so funny how people lump, like they say, oh, this IGN review as if it's like an IGN problem, which it is, but it's like maybe they're just picking the wrong people. Right, like there used to be a hardcore editorial staff over at IGN, right? Who was like, you'd have Damon and Greg and Colin and Ryan, and you would recognize a name in the byline, and be like, oh, I always agree with Colin, or I always agree with Greg, or I never agree with Ryan. And so when you see somebody's name, you kind of like, there was an understanding of like what that person's background was in the games that they liked and didn't like, and you kind of create this relationship with them, saying, I know if this person likes this game, then I'm also going to like it. But this other person, I don't tend to agree with them very often. When you just get a freelance person in, and it's a name on the byline that you don't know, well then it kind of means nothing to me, Wes. Right? That's why, you know, I'm very proud to have all of these reviews on the channel, all by me. And so anybody watching at this point, after 10 years, you're like, yeah, I either agree with Brian almost all the time, or I never agree with Brian, or like, I agree with Brian unless it's a first person shooter, or like, oh, he tends to like scary games more than I do, right? We've developed this relationship very parasocially, but it's been a relationship over the last 10 years that you guys know when I say something, like what it means something different to each person who watches it. And so that's the problem IGN's having right now. I think they're just trying to phone it in a little bit to save money and not have the people on staff who are getting paid big bucks. They're doing more important things. Right? It's like, no, but this is some of the most important stuff you can be doing, especially in order to save the reputation of your company. So I think IGN, Per Schneider needs to maybe think a little bit more about what's going on over there.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and something that we often forget here. You know, it's easy for us to put IGN on a review and forget that there's a person there doing that review. It's the same thing we saw recently with the reviews of Wrath, Eon of Ruin VR. You know, we ascribe, you know, Upload VR to the review we were recently talking about, and we were reminded in the comments of that video that hey, it's not all of Upload VR that reviewed that. It was somebody that they hired to review the game, and there are other people on the staff that would have written a very different review. Right. So it's always a good thing to remember in these situations.
Dude, it's so funny when you call out a reviewer by name and then the reviewer by name comments on GAMESCAST and says, hey, I watch a lot and you just want to clarify. I'm like, hey, what's happening? You get humbled pretty quickly and you're just like, I thought I was just talking shit to an empty void. What? No, I think it's funny, man. I think it's funny, and fortunately, I think everybody, for the most part, in this industry, understands that, you know, we're not trying to discredit anyone or anything like that. I've just learned over the years that I personally prefer the way that I do things. Right? In fact, does it mean I'm not going to be able to review every game? Yes, but at least you know where I'm coming from when I review a game. And so I just like that more than, you know, having a team of 8 people that you're not familiar with, or hiring freelancers of people that you don't know anything about. I think this is an interesting way forward. You know, and I do think that's why certain single person YouTube channels do end up having more credibility than some place like IGN that has a ton more subscribers.
Yeah, we've said this to ourselves, and I don't just mean you and I mean like the whole group of us who do this on YouTube and other platforms. Like, hey, VR is not a thing now, right? But in 10 years, when it becomes something more substantial, we're going to be the OGs. We're going to be the people who have been here all along, the people that have a relationship with the viewer. That people know where we're coming from. You know, people know what Brian likes, people know what I like, and so many others out there. So yeah, it's before we get to that point, it's a nice little reminder to have sometimes that we're doing the right thing here. We just gotta kind of stay in it until the platform itself becomes a bit more relevant in terms of mainstream coverage.
This is Wes's way of saying, Brian, don't give up now. Stick with it. You've got this.
Don't give up. John Cena would tell you that too. Never give up, Brian.
Never give up. Boy, I feel like we should just be diving straight into the review stuff, but I am going to take a quick little detour here, because I hope I can do this. I'm going to put a link here in the live chat. This is technically the GameCat ops of the day. I guess I think we should probably be doing a lot more of this, but this is for Gunman Contracts, and I know that there's enough people who follow me on Twitter. Again, I'm not looking to to develop a following over there. But it does help in situations like this when Gunman Contracts looks so beautiful and has been talked about for so long, and it's like it's somewhat of a big deal, right? And talking about getting it launching on Steam like later this year, finally coming out, and then people asking about a PSVR2 version, and he was like, "Yeah, we'll see." Right? I think the word was, "We'll see how it does on Steam, and then if it does well, we'll consider bringing it to PSVR 2, which I can't stand, Wes. No offense to the developer of this game, but I understand that's how business works. But I hate that we are reliant on a different group of gamers who have different tastes in games, who are more focused on modding flat screen games into VR than playing built from the ground up VR games. We are dependent on that group of people in order to get a game over here on PSVR 2, and that drives me up the fucking wall. And so I put the link to this Twitter post in the live chat, and I want everybody who hasn't sent this guy a message to just be like, "Hey, we love this on PSVR 2," because I think that's what we need to do. We need to circumvent the Steam players, and we need to tell him, "Hey, we don't care how it sells on Steam. There is a massive audience for your game over here. FYI."
Yeah, I'm down, and I do get it for what it's worth. I don't think it's when developers say these things, it often comes off as Steam VR is our test audience, and if we see that there's an interest in Steam VR, then we'll just assume that there would be an interest on the other platforms as well. What they're actually trying to say is, I can't. We're a small team here. We can't afford to do them all off the bat. We've been focusing on Steam for 3 years. If we can afford to stay in business and do a port, and it seems like there's interest in a port, then we will. But we've got to get some money back in our pockets before we can afford to do that. That's what they're trying to say. But they never say it like that, right? They always make it sound like, well, Steam's our test audience. If it does well there, then it'll do well everywhere. That's not what they mean. But I completely get it. And you're right, Brian. We should show them that there's interest on the other platforms, because like you said, like so many times, like EXD's a great example. It wasn't them that said that had they known that there was so much excitement and hype for it over here, they would have started over here. I call BS on that, but they did say it. Yeah, there's a reason why these devs go to Steam first. It's because it's easy to publish games there. All of these games start on PC. They all get developed on PC. And, even if they're being made for Quest or being made for console, they're getting developed and tested on PC. So it's a logical first place for them to try to sell it. And the QA requirements are a lot more lax on Steam. It's just way easier to get your game there. So that's why everyone starts there. In comparison, PlayStation is probably the most difficult place to develop and publish a game. So it makes sense that it would be the last place that everyone comes. So yeah, I get it from both perspectives, but we have to do what we can to tell these people, like, hey, if you can hang in there and eat beans and rice for a couple more years, we will buy your game if you bring it over here, right? And the only way we can do that now are on posts like this, and so on. So I agree with the approach here. And yeah, I just wanted to say that I get it. I get it from both perspectives. I understand. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And again, I think we all totally understand that for sure. Also, sirens on my end. I don't think there's any getting rid of that. Nope. Okay. This is but I think the important thing is that we make so much noise that we're hard to ignore. I think we make so much noise that they don't say, "Oh, well, we were gonna bring this to Quest next," but you know what? Fuck it. We haven't heard a peep from the Quest gamers. Wow, the sirens are getting louder. We haven't heard a peep from the Quest gamers, and so all these PlayStation VR2 gamers made so much noise. Obviously, we got to focus on that version next, right? Because I think most people would go, "Oh yeah, we'll bring it to Steam, and then we'll bring it to Quest, and then maybe PSVR2." So I think just kind of bumping us up in the line of priority is a good idea. And correct me if I'm wrong, Wes, wasn't this originally like a Half-Life Alyx mod?
It was, yeah. This was something. So Steam and Valve in general, they've always been big proponents in open source community modding. Their whole philosophy is that once someone buys something from you, whether it's hardware or software, it's their right to be able to use that, modify it, and do what they want with it. So when they launched Half-Life Alyx, they had built a whole new game engine to make that game in Source 2, and they opened up Source 2 for everyone to use and make games in to some extent. Obviously it's not wide open, but it's very open compared to the other game engines. And literally, when you buy Half-Life Alyx, you're also buying a copy of that engine to create and make mods in and make your own game in if you want. And that's where Gunman Contracts started. It started as a Half-Life Alyx mod, and it got so popular and was so well done, they decided to make an official game out of it. And I don't even think it uses Source 2 anymore. This version is probably Unreal Engine or Unity. I don't know which one, but yeah, you're absolutely right. This started off as a Half-Life Alyx mod, and here it is, almost about to launch as its own standalone thing, which obviously, as someone from Flat to VR Studios, who is a group of people who used to do mods that are now doing official adaptations, I think this is beautiful, man, and I hope to see more of it in the days and years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is if we get this on PSVR2, it'll be the closest thing to Half-Life Alyx that we could get. So I'll take it. We'll go with it. It has nothing to do with Half-Life Alyx. We've got Comic Book Guy Game Cat in the chat with the 10 quid. Says, there it is. I know this is a VR channel, but can I just mention that I just saw Michael earlier and thought it was good. And Jafar Jackson, who plays Michael Jackson, was fantastic. And I might watch it again, but in 4DX. Oh, that good, huh? Holy Mazzoli. Well, he said this was part 1 of 2. Wait, is this? Oh, here's 2. Thank you. Thanks for another 5 quid, Comic Book Guy. He says, and also, not everyone knows it, but they released an, I think, official 3D version of Thriller. Ooh. Nice.
Yeah, it would be nice to see these sort of things inside the headset, which I think is what he's alluding to here. Maybe he's talking about going and seeing this movie specifically in IMAX or what have you. But no, I've heard quite a bit about this movie from my son, he's like 17, and I didn't know he had any interest in Michael Jackson or any of it, but he's the one that informed me about this movie, and he keeps talking about it, how he wants to go see it. So yeah, it looks cool.
That's random.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know this movie existed till literally 3 seconds ago. I knew that I really want to see is it Neil Diamond one with Hugh Jackman? That I don't know
what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like some biopic about Neil Diamond starring Hugh Jackson. Anyway, so and it was like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not like a big Neil Diamond fan, but I grew up like Neil Diamond and Elton John. These kind of pop singers were very prevalent in our household growing up, and I was like, I don't know, man. I kind of want to know a little bit more about the story of these performers I know nothing about. I watched like a fucking 4-hour Billy Joel documentary, and I didn't know jack shit about Billy Joel other than some of his singles prior to that. It's just really, right. These biopics and these documentaries are just a fun look into people's lives that like you've heard the name, but it's like nothing about the story behind it. So thanks for the recommendation, Comic Book Guy. I went from not knowing anything about the movie to being very curious about it. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's great. They spent 2 decades tearing this man down and defaming him at every chance that they could. I'm just happy to see something positive come out about Michael Jackson, because he was a remarkable figure and the biggest star in the world for many, many, many years. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's good that to see something to do with him that doesn't have to do with some crazy rumors and speculation about what he does in his personal time.
Yeah, I mean, I saw documentaries about that too. I don't.
Well, plenty of that, right?
Yep. I don't. Honestly, I don't even have an opinion on it. I don't, because I wasn't there. I don't know. And it makes me feel better thinking he was a good person. So like I want to kind of just roll with that narrative, because I don't know, man. I hate thinking that everybody in the world sucks, because so many people do, and I would just rather believe that there's some that some of the shit isn't valid, isn't accurate. But
same way. I wasn't there either, and obviously I don't know, and I do believe that there are a lot of people out there engaging in such activity. I just not convinced in this case with him. I know he was saying a lot of things about powerful people before the narrative turned on him, and that's typically a telltale sign that it's just a smear campaign. But who knows? Like you said, we weren't there. We don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. Oof, man, I feel like the conspiracy goes far deeper than even I was aware, and now I want to delve deeper, but not right now. Not right now, because we got Hong Kong Neon with the two chieftains saying, "Heard about the Quest 3 price increase? Up by $100." Let me guess, no one's complaining about it. Like,
not many people, honestly, and I think people in the know. While obviously it sucks for a lot of consumers out there, I think people in the know understand that this is just another sign of the times, and that we've been saying it for a couple months now. Meta's taking a step back. They've decided not to manipulate the market like they've tried for the last 5 years to do, and I think this is part of that. They're saying, well, let's put a price tag on this thing that's more in line with what it costs to make it, and see who buys them. And I think that's fair.
Yep. Yeah. This absolutely doesn't come as any surprise. Like you said, they shut down all those studios. They, it seems like, they are also just kind of taking a step back and letting the market do the thing that the market was going to do prior to them kind of interfering with it. So, hey, you know what? Shit's gonna happen, and the fact is that, like, here we are. There's like 80 million PlayStation 5s out there. I have no idea. I just made that number up, but it's a lot, right? And so, I think Sony would be really smart to say, hey, we got a $300 headset that's far superior to the Quest 3. Look at these adaptive triggers. Look at our, eye track foveated rendering. Look at this and that, whatever, right? The headset haptics. Look at Resident Evil 4. OLED. Look at Resident Evil Village. Look at the OLED panels. Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. And it's so much cheaper than the Quest. Start selling the PSVR2 headset to people who already own the console, right? Because people who don't own the console already are going to look at it and go, it's like $600 or $700 to get into actually probably more than that right now, right? To get into the PlayStation ecosystem, and then to buy a headset. I think they should be marketing the headset to people who already own that thing and be like, hey, it's only $300 to get into a PSVR2 right now. You already own a headset. Make the most of it. I think it would be smart.
Yeah, and all these people that have been buying these Quests because they have a PC, and they need a PCVR headset, and it's cool that it also does standalone, but that's not what they're buying it for. We can compete with them now with the Quest going up in price and PlayStation VR coming down in price. Like, we were already a superior PC headset to the thing to begin with. Now that the pricing's more on a level playing field, we could potentially pick up a few points of market share just based on that alone.
Whoa, sorry, I didn't realize we had so many tips ahead of us. Miracle Onis 2.0 with the $5 says, trust me, the game is coming to Quest. LOL. Why does PSVR 2 have to beg for games? Games sell more on the system, right? Whoa, what was this? EXDs? Oh yeah. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is coming to Quest eventually. Or Gunman Contracts. I'm sure that's also coming to Quest eventually. Like, right? Why, if you have a VR game developed for Steam, why wouldn't you want to bring it to as many headsets as possible? Make the most of it. Sell it to as many people as you possibly can. So yeah, I'm with you. Why does PSVR 2 have to beg for games? Mostly because there was a fucking smear campaign for the last couple of years of people talking shit about PSVR 2. Which is over. It's over. People have stopped. just randomly talking shit about PSVR2 for the most part. We still see it here and there, right? But it got a lot of undeserved hate. And then people are finally coming around and being like, damn, this fucking headset's great. It also didn't sell gangbusters. You know what I mean? It's like on paper, it doesn't look like a very good place to bring your game to, right? If you've got 20 million Quest 2s and 10 million Quest 3s out there, right? Wouldn't you want to bring your game to those platforms instead of the PlayStation VR 2, which has what, 3 or 4 million? We don't even know. They haven't released numbers, but we're just estimating, right? But it's not until you dig deeper, which most studios are not doing, right? They're just looking into basic numbers and going, "This is what I guess we should do this." When you dig deeper, you find a very, very dedicated community who buy a ton of games, right? We do sell more. The games do sell better on PSVR 2. Period. Sometimes we match Steam sales, sometimes we match Quest, and occasionally there'll be one that's just an absolute dud on PSVR 2. But usually we can figure out the reasons for those. So
yeah, you have to have the right game, right? You have to bring the right game at the right time.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to really talk about for someone who isn't in the business and already have published multiple games, because this isn't public knowledge. Like, most studios don't put numbers out for how many copies they sold on this platform or that one, and the platform holders don't either. So there's very limited information out there, and it makes it hard to dispel rumors, whether they're rooted in fact or not. So yeah, it's a difficult situation that's only going to be remedied over time. But I think we're on the right path.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's why part of the mission this year, 2026 for Without Parole, was to help you guys make noise. Right? I mean, it makes sense. Like, let's get organized. Let's get organized. And like, if we have these sort of, dedicated movements where we tell developers, we are very interested in your game, and there's hundreds of us, if not thousands, all saying your game would sell great over here. It's already worked. We've already gotten, a good number of games over here. So that's all. It sucks, right? No time in human history, as far as video games are concerned, has there ever really been a movement like this, which is why I'm really proud of our community, right? It's like, we are literally saving this headset, right? That Sony is, I would say, phoning it in on a little bit. Every so often they're like, hey, Capcom, bring Resident Evil 4 VR over. Hey, Microsoft, bring Microsoft Flight Sim over. Hey, and like, they'll do it occasionally, Hitman. But like, we are changing what would have been the inevitable downfall of PSVR 2 in real time. We are literally changing the trajectory of this headset in real time, and I'm fucking proud of everybody who participates in that shit.
Certainly. And there's so much I want to talk about that's not announced yet, but yeah, just keep plugging away, guys. There you have friends out there that are helping push from both sides. So yeah, totally agree with what you're saying, and we should be proud.
Hell yeah. This would have been funnier 5 minutes ago, but Michael makes a game with the $2 tip, says he's in the chat. I can't do it. Oh man. I'm so sorry. You deserve better for your $2. I'll work on it throughout the course of the episode. Maybe I'll get back to you. This is, I believe, Son WTF with a $20 tip that said, this is to help Brian justify paying the elevator ride to Skybar at the Strat. I don't want to do anything that requires, this sounds like a heights thing. This sounds like heights, and I'm not here for it. I don't want to go on a roller coaster that goes over the edge of the building. I don't want to be on anything that shoots up into the sky. I want to hang out in my hotel room and be very, very safe. And I'll look out the window and probably still feel a little knot in my stomach.
Well, hopefully we'll be looking out the window over the stadium, right? Because that stadium that the festival's coming to on Saturday, I'm told, is right next to our hotel. So, like, it would be cool if we get a good view. I don't know where they're putting us in relation to that, but it would be cool if we got a good view of that.
Nice. Nice. I didn't know it was that close. That's pretty cool. Can we
Yeah,
just open our window and listen?
Well, that's what Miles told me. He's like, it's a real possibility that this, if we find ourselves in the right spot in the building, that we could quite literally just sit there and watch, all of these awesome bands play.
Hell yeah. Yep, that'd be great.
Maybe we should get into flight sim and fly over and see where we're at.
That's actually a good idea. I still haven't flown over my my apartment yet. I don't know what that was about.
Well, you see it enough. You know what it looks like.
Yeah, but I don't see it from that angle. Sorry. Yeah, and I have been playing a Quest trailer for the last 20 minutes because we brought up Quest and I just never changed it. Not a common occurrence over here. All right, what else we got? Dude, tomorrow's going to be crazy. Listen, it's mind-boggling to me that Little Nightmares VR comes out tomorrow. And the Unmourned VR demo comes out tomorrow. Both on PSVR2. Yeah. And I don't even know what to do with myself. I literally think I'm going to be working I've got to go to bed now so I can wake up at 2:00 in the morning and get to work on this shit. Right? So yeah, I wasn't in contact with anyone that could help out with review keys on Little Nightmares until literally hours ago, and I haven't even. It's complicated, but I may be getting a review key tomorrow morning, maybe if I'm lucky. But and then I checked the release date on the PlayStation Store for the game. Oh wait, hold on a second. You know what? I was about to say something, but I've realized that earlier today I was signed into the Australian store. This happens so frequently. I just want to double check. I think the game comes out at 10 a.m. tomorrow, but at some point it said something along the lines of 6 p.m. tomorrow. So I don't know what's going on, dude.
Yeah, someone in the chat said Friday earlier. So I don't know where that person was at in relation. But I don't know. I don't know when the thing drops.
All right, I'm just going to the store page right now and just double checking. Okay. Yeah, holy crap. No, it wasn't the Australian store. Yeah, so there's a timer counting down from 24 hours. It is at 23 hours and 8 minutes. So the game comes out at 6 p.m. tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. When does that happen? This is so weird.
That's strange. Normally it's the opposite, right? Like if something comes at a weird time, it's 5 and 6 a.m., not 5 and 6 p.m. That's a little weird. Where's the studio located at or publisher, I guess I should say?
Bandai Namco. They're Japanese, right?
There you go. That makes sense. So this will be at 6 a.m. for them.
Oh, so they are launching it across the board simultaneously, regardless of where you are in the world.
Speculation.
Yeah.
Speculation.
That makes sense. Yeah. But anyway, like I said, I've been really doing what I can to get my hands on this game early so I could have a review ready for tomorrow. So far has not been the case, but I we'll see. And then of course the Unmourned VR demo comes out tomorrow as well. And I don't know, what do you guys think? Should I just stream it? I know not all of you guys are into horror games, and so not all of you are going to play it yourself. And I'm assuming some of you want to watch me shit myself live. So let me know what you think.
Hopefully it's a good meaty demo, man, because this game looks friggin' cool. I get Madison vibes all over the place when I'm watching the footage and screenshots and stuff of it. It's got that look of a high quality horror game to it.
Yeah, knowing that the demo and the full game will run at 90 frames native is really, really nice. So at least that's one less thing to worry about. But from people who have played the full game, at least in our community, who've reported back to me, they said don't expect Madison level, right? They said it's definitely a few steps below that, but still an enjoyable horror game, And I am all for these 6 or 7 out of 10 horror games. I just need these in my veins. You know what I mean? Like fucking crack cocaine. Is that how you?
Yeah, it seems like it's been a while. So, for all of the for all of the talk from the early PSVR2 days of there's too much horror coming to the platform, we've had a nice long break from it now, and I'm ready for it to be too much horror again.
Yeah. Yep. And man, it is a good time over the next couple weeks, man. Like, not only do we have this happening tomorrow, the demo coming out tomorrow for this, Little Nightmares, I guess you'd consider that a horror game, right? It's definitely in a horror world. And then next week, Secret of the Mimic is getting a VR, I'm assuming, patch. Again, no one's been clear about anything recently. So Steel Wool Studios, I'm assuming, is just dropping a patch for and I'm guessing a free patch for Secret of the Mimic VR, but we still don't know for sure. People have been like, hey, it's on sale. Should I buy it? And I go, I don't know. I literally don't. I don't want to be responsible for you having to buy the game twice. And so I was like, yeah, listen, probably a free patch for the game, but until they say something specific, we won't know. Grandpa's Barbecue Games says, is it Little Nightmares 3? No, it's a game that takes place. It's called Altered Echoes, Little Nightmares. It takes place between Little Nightmares 1 and 2. So, interesting. I also, somebody here, let me bring up the trailer for it, because one of the things that some people were concerned about that apparently I should have been more concerned about was 6's hood, where you can kind of see the shadows, like these, kind of creating like a vignette or blinders throughout the course of the entire trailer. And we were like, oh, well, that's got to be just for the trailer, right? Or an option when you're playing in VR to, make it feel like, right? But somebody posted a response from Bandai Namco saying, no, that's on in the game to increase immersion, to make you feel like you've got a hood on, and to decrease motion sickness. And I was like, oh, man.
That's force blinders. That's all it is a gimmick for force blinders. And don't get me wrong, I love the concept of having the vignette, the optional vignette, have the look of a hood to it. I think that's a great way to minimize the immersion break that comes from putting a vignette on. But that does not need to be forced on everyone. Some of us just want to see everything. And if they don't have that optional on day one, I assume that it will be patched in very quickly, because a lot of people are going to be upset by it.
Right. Yeah. And listen, if you're gonna do it, like put an actual hood on us, right? Render one out. Don't just create these black shadows. Render an actual hood. There's been plenty of times where we're in a cockpit, or we've got a space helmet on, or even with Wipeout, all sorts of like real life type blinders, right? So that your vision is obscured a little bit by something that is an actual hoodie hood, right? Don't phone it in and be like, here's your force blinders. And then, but then also for the people who don't want it on, how great would it be? And this is some Resident Evil Village type coat inventory. Great would it be? Like, oh, I don't want these blinders here. I don't want this hood on. You just grab it and go, whoop, and you actually like pull it down, right? These are the things that people who are making VR games should be thinking about. And when I saw that this was made by a team called Iconic, who I've never heard of before and have never, done a flat screen or VR game, to my knowledge. I don't know who the people there. I don't know what they've done individually, but this always makes me nervous when you go, oh yeah, here's an IP, we're just going to hand it to a team that hasn't done anything before. It makes me real nervous. It's like, bro, there's a laundry list of things that you should be considering when making a VR game. And if this is your first one, I hope they talk to some people and didn't just go, oh, we know how this works. We got this. It's all under control over here. Yeah.
If only there were a playtesting group for hire that they could just bring their game in and give it to real VR players and get real feedback.
Yep. But anyway, that's what we heard. I think enough people have also made enough noise and been like, oh, this is terrible. Don't do this. Please don't do this. Please let us turn that off. That hopefully they'll have it all taken care of for launch. Hey, Stilt was force blinders? Stilt? Corey? Stilt? I played the crap out of Stilt. I don't remember force blinders. Interesting. All right, we got Scott the PSVR Game Cat for life with the 5 quid saying, 7 hours until my flight from cold, windy Brighton to the southeast coast of England to Las Vegas. Should get to the hotel by 4 p.m. So only 22 hours away. This is what I'm talking about. In 22 hours, I'm still going to be here. I probably won't have even packed by then. And Scott's going to already be there. Posting pictures and shit. It's craziness. But it is so cool that we're so close that it's really, really happening. It's already happening.
Yeah, I'll be leaving for the airport in about 24 hours-ish, roughly.
Sorry, I don't know if I understand the question. Miracle Onus, who just asked about the why do we have to beg for PSVR2 games? He says I don't ask those questions to be funny. I just don't understand how y'all care more about PSVR than Sony does. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I mean, because Sony only cares about money. I think they used to care more about games, but they only care about money. We care about games. If I cared about money, I would be doing something different with my life. I would be doing any other kind of YouTube channel possible, right? I would not be limiting my viewership to something that, has barely sold any units. But we care about games, and so that's why we care more than Sony does, right? And I think that's what the industry needs more of. It needs more people who are committed to, who are gamers, who love gaming rather than just making a buck.
Yeah, people who care. It seems like gaming went to previously unseen heights as an entertainment medium 20 years ago, we'll say, ish, around there. Because everywhere you looked in the gaming industry, people were the people that were building it were people who cared about games and providing, experiences to the consumer that are just next level things that weren't possible before, and really showing people the potential for gaming as an entertainment medium. I believe that there's more potential in gaming than there is on television or any movies, any other medium out there. Gaming is such a potentially much more rich experience. But once it started to achieve some of that and really prove it out in the marketplace, then it seems like everyone just turned into this, profit taking exercise where it was all about, it's almost like they took the gamers for granted. Like they're going to buy it no matter what. We'll just give them whatever we decide they want. And they'll just buy it and untold profit to the end of time. And that's not how it works. Gaming got popular because it got great, and it will only resume that trajectory if it gets great again. Let's make gaming great again is what I'm trying to say. Gaga.
That came so out of left field. I don't even know how to respond to that. But it's great, man. Yeah, let's make gaming great again. Oh my god.
So Gaga.
But what color hats are we gonna wear, Wes? That's the bigger question. What color are the hats gonna be?
Colorless hats. Black on black.
All right. Well, I'm gonna make some off-brand rainbow ones. Fuck y'all. All right, dude, we could talk about this review stuff, which we already kind of talked about. I feel like we did part one of this review conversation already. But obviously the reason the problem with reviews conversation is coming up is partly because of what's happening over at IGN. And dude, I don't know if you've seen this, but I saw one video from IGN about it, right, which was the actual Mouse PI review, and then I saw like 17 people being like, IGN is trash, and here's why, and then all commenting on the IGN review and talking about the game, which is great, but it does lead to more questions than answers. And then today on Twitter, I was tagged in a conversation that I don't think I had much to do with, so. Let me see if I can just bring that up so you guys can kind of get an idea of where the genesis of all of this where the genesis of this originated. That's probably not the greatest sentence I've ever crafted in my life. Did I not fucking bookmark this anywhere? Probably not. Oh, here, but I can do it this way. Ha 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 ha. Come on. Come on. I can figure out OBS on the fly. I know I can.
Do it.
All right, is this good enough? Yeah, this is good enough. All right. So the Amiga Guru had posted, he quote tweeted. I think the Amiga Guru's here. If you are, hello, what's up? But he had quote tweeted Future Viking, who had said, when this PSVR2 game came out, some people loved it, others not so much. But it and a few other games are going to be cheap on PSN. It is. It's super cheap right now. It's like $3 or $4. But the Amiga Guru quote tweeted it and said, most reviews out there are unfair, as the developer fixed most of, if not all of the stuff that people bitched about in their reviews. I ended up getting tagged in this at some point, and that is the reason that I even know that this conversation happened. But let's take it down a notch here. Bad Robo responded, "Why not fair? If the game was broken at launch, and that's the version reviewers got, how can reviews be unfair? Nobody's going to review a game again a year after release just because the developers graciously fixed their game." Amiga Guru responds, "People who review the game at launch can spend 20 minutes to add in that everything they bitched about or was removed, patched post-launch day. If not, the review should just be deleted from the face of the earth in today's daily update digital shit world." Bad Robo says, "Of course not. Do you seriously think a reviewer who reviews 2 or 3 games a week should constantly revisit old games to update their reviews? This is where it happened. Tell Brian from Without Parole to check the 200 games he reviewed. By the way, way more than that. We're almost up to 200 PSVR2 games alone. Never mind the 300 on PSVR1. That he reviewed and play through them again to see if anything's improved." This is when I get tagged in. Amiga Guru says, "I doubt that he would disagree with the mentality behind it. Right, Brian?" Don't count those chickens, Amiga Guru. We see continuously how reviewers say, if they fix it, then I'll bump up the score to blah, blah, blah. Living games need living reviews. Oh, and for the record, I doubt 200 games have had the major changes we talk about here in the first week or post. Anyway. All right. I got to say something off the bat. Because since there's a... Go ahead.
Before you go, I wasn't able to find this string, only the specific tweet that you shared. I'm just curious, what game are we talking about here that started this conversation?
That's the crazy part. So here's the link to the entire thread. And sorry, I thought I had it in there on the show. My apologies. And but it's about City of Hunger. Did you play City of Hunger?
Okay, I did not.
It's not very good. The funny part about it is that this is the game that spawned this kind of conversation. Listen, it's the environment is one big asset flip. Not a problem, right? If the game is good, great, right? But man, it was like these endless zombies coming from endless monster closets, but there was something pushing me forward. I was like, yeah, I wonder if I can deal with all this nonsense. I wonder what is, after all this stuff. And very much like what Andrew Ehrenreich said about EXD, just as it's starting to get good, it ends. And if it was $5, I'd be like, I don't know, maybe, right? But and it is now. So if you are curious, then by all means. But it's pretty much a generic zombie shooter. And I don't think personally that adding smooth turning or maybe some better interactions or better haptics, that kind of thing, this is not the kind of game that will get a radically different score with a re-review, right? There are some games that are just, there's just not much to them. They're inherently not very interesting. And so it was fascinating to me that this is what spawned this conversation. It was like any other game we can talk about. But it's a relevant conversation.
It's a very relevant conversation and good points to be made here on both sides.
Yeah, agreed. But so because I was brought into it, I do have to talk about this a little bit from a personal standpoint. And the personal standpoint I'm going to bring in is, to my knowledge, Mega Guru does in fact do a blog, right? And so just like Upload, just like anybody who's got a website and who are publishing articles, very, very, very easy to go into an article and go update April 22nd, 2026. The game now has smooth turning, and the soundtrack's a little bit better, and they've added haptics, and it's affected my score this much. The fact that anybody has any idea what it's like to do to re-review something, it's a major overhaul when it comes to, it's a massive undertaking when it comes to doing something on YouTube. Not only do I have to go in and play the game, which everybody should, you check out the updates, which we do, and we talk about them here on GAMESCAST. This is our re-review format, right? This endless 2-hour conversation that we have 3 days a week. This is how we handle that, right? And so we do have a format for that. However, for me to go in and play it and then like type up, a couple paragraphs or something about all the updates, and then do the voiceovers and chop those up, and then, capture footage and bring all that in and edit that into the original review. Fine. But then what do I do with that? What do I do with that brand new video? Okay. My City of Hunger review has 11,000 views. I'm not going to delete that video to upload a new video that 200 people will watch, right? Because they don't care about the fucking updates. Okay. Until YouTube has the ability to upload a replacement video for an existing video, it's very hard to deal with. So all I can do is pin a comment beneath the existing video and say, hey, it's gotten some updates. So that's how it is from my perspective. That's what makes things a lot more difficult from my perspective, right? So, and also I don't think it's fair for developers to release a game that's shitty and then say, hey, as I keep patching this thing, I expect you to keep covering it and expect you to, right? Don't worry about those good games that are coming out, and don't worry about all the ones that have polish, and don't worry about the what things. No, this game that came out 6 months ago, yep, just put out a new fucking video, Brian, every time I patch it. Nope, it's not the way things work. I am one person, right? Which is the benefit of Without Parole. You know what information, where your information is coming from. We talked about this earlier, but it's also detrimental because I just don't have the manpower to do something like this. No, it's just impossible.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation for someone who, again, publishes their content primarily through video format. And especially so for someone who does it for a living, right? As a hobbyist, like for me, for example, I've been putting a lot of thought lately into what I'm going to do with Virtual Strangers when I return and start making content again. Because if one thing I've learned in the last, 5 or 6 months, however long this break has been, it's that I'm not capable of doing what I did before. With my new job and all of the challenges of my life, I can't play every game on every platform. I just can't do that anymore. So what do I want to do? And one of the things I've been thinking about is like, there's so many games that I did impressions on that I never went back to that I would love to go back to. Maybe we do that. Maybe I make that something that we do, where I go back and do full reviews of games that we did impressions of 2 years ago, just because I want to play them and I want to talk about them. But that's easy for me to say because I don't make a living off of my channel. And the realities of that make this so much more difficult because, like Brian said, his City of Hunger review has 11,000 views on it.
Which
what that means is
that's not a lot of views to begin with. Yeah,
it's not much. But if you do an addendum or a second video for that, people aren't going to see it. People won't see that. They'll see the original when they go search City of Hunger in the search bar. They're going to get your first one. It reminds me of a similar situation for another content creator who makes a living doing these video reviews. They did a bad review one time. It was a terrible review. They cited things that were wrong with the review copy of the game. that it had already been disclosed to us as reviewers that these things were going to be fixed for launch day. They're not going to be problems in.
I hate
And
that.
so they got a big backlash for doing a shitty review, as they should have. And then they came out like a day or two after launch and did a second copy, apologizing for the shit review, talking about all the things that they got wrong. The problem was they left the original one up. And nobody saw the apology with all of the correct information in it. And I get why they left the original one up, because they're making a living off of it. And had they this was a high profile game. Had they taken that off, then they would have made no money. And, you know, while it would have been, you know, from an ethics standpoint, the right thing to do, sometimes, you know, the bottom line and paying your bills trumps everything. So I get it. So the point is, you know, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. See, there is a nuance to this conversation. And so I'm glad we're having it, right? Because there are people who I absolutely love in our field who do exactly what we do, who, for whatever reason, even though developers say, hey, this is going to be fixed for launch, and you know, there is kind of an unspoken contract you have with a developer and publisher when you get a review key a week or two ahead of time. It's that they have to trust that you're going to adhere to the embargo and not fuck them over. And then you have to trust that the things they said are going to be fixed are actually going to be fixed, right? And so it does bother me when I don't mention things in my review because the developers promised that they were going to be fixed. And then I see somebody else who were under the same embargo I had with the exact same notes that I had who talk about those issues in their review. It's like, bro, part of the deal was that we know that shit's going to be fixed. Like, why call that shit out? Right. And these are people that I've got no problems with at all. It's just like a different mentality when it comes to reviewing games. Right. I want to review the game that people who are thinking about buying it on day one, I want to review that experience for them.
Yeah. And, you know, I agree. And you know, the easy answer, again, for someone like me who doesn't make a living off of this, is you don't do a launch day review. Yep. If you're making a living at this, you have to do a launch day review, or you're going to get left in the dust by these other guys. So it's a bad situation all around. The platform and format really restricts what you're able to do as a reviewer. And, you know, the printed word, be it on paper or now on a computer screen, is much more malleable, something that's much easier to edit. So I get it from that standpoint. People who go and leave reviews on the store after they buy a game, people who aren't game reviewers, I think that these people are, it's much easier for these people to amend their reviews, and the reviews do count for a lot. So I'm hoping some of this rubs off on you, the consumer. And when you leave a bad review, here's an example. And just for the record, I haven't been back in, so I don't know if this makes a big difference or not, but Reach just got a huge update. With tons of what appears to be mostly bug fixes, but it was a huge update. There is a laundry list of bug fixes that they've put into this. A lot of them platform specific, just a ton of stuff in there. I don't expect anyone on YouTube to go and re-review Reach. The reviews are what they are at this point, but I would hope that a lot of people that went and gave it shit reviews on Steam would give it a look. And if they fixed it and made it better, say that. Go amend your review and say that. But yeah, to your point, Brian, I don't know what the answer would be for someone in your situation. You could maybe start another kind of genre of video where it's just kind of like an review update or something like that. Yeah. And just try it out and see if people are interested in it. And if you can get people to click on a Green Hell review in 2026, right. A re-review or an update, and say, this doesn't necessarily negate everything in my original review. So go watch that first if you haven't seen that, and then come back here. But I think that's really the only thing that you could even try. And I don't know that would work.
I think something that the Omega Guru brought up in that thread, and something that I've done here and there, but not frequently, is literally in the review itself. I remember this happened for Made of Scare, right? Say like, listen, it's what a great game. It really is, right? The flat screen game must have been great because I'm assuming the flat screen game didn't have all these VR problems, right? The low resolution and all that. And so at the end of the review, I said, listen, here you go. Here's the score. If they address the resolution, add a point to the score, right? If they give us the DLC or the updates that are not included in this VR version, add another point to the score, right? So my 6 out of 10 is you already know that if they fix the resolution and they add the DLC to it, then you know that's an 8 out of 10 if they've done that, right? And again, so the best I can do is pin a comment and say, hey, they did do this, so now it is an 8 out of 10, right? But yeah, trying to find the time or the effort to go back to these games when we're trying to keep up with this constant schedule, it's almost impossible. And I think people are asking for just a little bit too much, when everyone's just trying to do their best. So,
yeah. And for the record, when I suggest a new genre of video, I'm not talking about a I'm talking about Brian Bite, 3 to 5 minutes.
Right.
Here's the updated notes on a game we reviewed 2 years ago, just in case you're wondering, has it gotten any better? Yes, it has. No, it hasn't. Here's why. Bing, bang, boom, and we're out. Maybe that's something you could do. And if there were enough demand for it from the audience, maybe that's something you could try. But that's really the only thing that I could think of that would even possibly go anywhere here. The only other answer would be to have a written component to it, have a website where all of your reviews go up and something that people could go to as a resource. But you're talking about even more work to do something like that than what goes into the video side of it. So obviously that's not very realistic either. It's an interesting conversation to have, and I think it's one that we need to have and continue to have until YouTube changes or the ecosystem changes enough to where we have a more of an ability to deal with things in real time. But that's just not and you know what? It's funny that we're here on the console platform talking about this, because as a PSVR2 reviewer, everything that we've just said as an impediment to what we do is 10 times worse here, because we're the last to get review keys. Sometimes we get review keys the day before. Sometimes we get them the day of launch. So you want to be the first to do it. You want to be the first to do a review video, and you don't even have time to play the game first. Right. So that makes things 10 times worse. Before we roll on, I mentioned Green Hell as an example. Just a quick aside that I think is hilarious. Have you been keeping up with what's going on with Green Hell VR? No, probably not.
I think the last thing I heard about Green Hell VR was that the PlayStation VR2 version is so much better than the Steam version that they are literally they're going to port the PSVR2 version over to Steam. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. So basically, Green Hell VR, there's 2 versions of this game now. Actually, there's 3. But so you had the original version on PC, which was almost a 1-to-1 reproduction of the flat version. Then you had the Quest version come along, which was a dramatically reduced map. Not dramatically reduced, but somewhat reduced map. Things are closer together. There's not as much room to explore. It's a much more linear experience than the original Green Hell. And then you had the PlayStation version, which took the Quest version and then gave it graphics that were more comparable to the PC version. And the PC gamers all kind of scoffed at our version of the game, saying, you didn't get the real game. You got a watered down, reduced version of it, right? Mm-hmm. And then the multiplayer came out. And the PC players were all mad because Quest and PlayStation got multiplayer and they didn't get it. So now they're going to get what they asked for. But I'm assuming that because of that, they're going to lose their coveted, look what I got and you don't have, bigger version of the game now. Now their version's going to get shrunk down to be in line with us so that they can have multiplayer. And I think that is just hilarious. After years of them trying to rub everyone's nose in their superior version, now they're going to be forced to take our version because they bitch too much about the multiplayer thing. I think that's just funny, and I wanted to bring it up.
It is hilarious. However, I think the thing that everybody, at least on PSVR2, was hoping, as much as like Green Hell VR is pretty fucking good. It's got the multiplayer and all this DLC now, and they've really fixed a lot of the problems. And so it is a great game. However, the thing that we've always wanted was we just wanted the flat screen game in VR. We didn't want the truncated thing. So it's like, no, is anybody getting what they want anymore? Really? I think no. But it's still a great game. And if you haven't picked up Green Hell, you probably should pick it up at this point.
No, and for what it's worth, the parts that got cut out from the PC and flat version, it's empty wilderness. Like literally, it's just not as hard to get lost in our version, essentially. Everything else is there, and I prefer the truncated version for what it's worth.
Interesting. Yeah, and I guess the last thing I want to say before we move on from this review discussion is, like, it's all fucking opinions, right? Like, we talked about the difference of opinions. We talked about should your opinion be updated with the updates? It's all still just opinions, and it's all still just. I think numbers in review scores, which I do. I never used to. The first few years of Without Parole, there were no review scores on any of my reviews, right? It was like it made people listen to the review. And now the only thing I ever hear about is the number. And I only added the number because people really wanted to know. People like, and some people are like, oh, you need a number if you want to be on Metacritic and this and that and blah, 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 whatever. And there was one game, I think, if I got this right, I want to say it was Warzone, the Sin Studio multiplayer game that they stripped the multiplayer out of and left us with like a half broken single player first person shooter. And like, I don't know, man, I did the Brian Paul thing, and I was like, even though it's a piece of shit game, I was like, but it's still cool that you can get into these vehicles and drive around. And like, I talked about the good stuff along with the bad stuff, right? I didn't just say, oh, this is absolute garbage, even though it was. And part of me was like, I think the overall tone of that was just too nice for a game that didn't deserve it. And so if I could have stamped like a 1.5 out of 10 or 1 out of 10 or 0 at the end, it just like made me feel better about saying, hey, maybe I said some nice things about this, but ultimately this is how I feel. So I get why people need the number, but I look at games as art, and I think it's the ultimate art form, right? It takes it's music and it's sound and it's animation and storytelling, and and then the immersion that VR brings to it. It's the ultimate form of art, and it feels terrible to associate a number with all of these people who created this beautiful piece of art or this piece of shit of art. And it just feels bad to put a number on it, right? It doesn't make any sense. You don't go to museums and look at a Van Gogh and go 6 out of 10, right? You don't do that. And so this just feels weird to me.
Yeah, and I agree. And as you've seen and we've discussed at length here before, not everyone grades on the same scale. Even if it's like everyone does 0 out of 10, the in-between numbers mean different things to different people. And I don't know if you remember this, but a year or two ago, I did a little case study just asking people what's an average game numbers wise. And half the people said 5 out of 10 and the other people said 7 out of 10. Yep. And that just, it made so much sense then to see why there was so much argument about games that if you took the number out of it, people were saying the same thing about it, right? But people were arguing just based on the numbers. And that's why, because what an average game is, there is no standard for that. And everyone grades on their own scale, even when there's a number attached to it. So you're right. It does cause as much confusion as it does help people. And with that said, I do, before we shut this conversation off, I do want to say, something that I want to echo something that you said right at the very top, which is developers, they need to have their game pretty close to finish when they put it for sale, unless they're designating it specifically as something that's early access and a work in progress, which doesn't happen on PlayStation. There is no early access on PlayStation. This is like Steam and Meta. you don't need to sell people a broken game. It's on you first and foremost. If you sell a shit game that's broken to people and then fix it a year later, well, that's on you. You're the one that launched the shit game. That's not on the reviewer for telling people about it. With that said, it isn't all about launching a shit game. RoboQuest, for example, is an amazing game. In a month, it is going to be a much better game than it is already. So it isn't always about fixing problems. Sometimes it's about continuing to build on what was already a good game, right? So there is that element, but for sure, studios in general have taken advantage of the move away from physical media into a digital ecosystem, and they've taken advantage of that to the point where they're launching games today that they would not have launched 10 years ago because they know that they can fix it later. I think that needs to stop, and until it does, I think people should hammer them on launch days. If they launch a broken game, they should be held to account for that. And if that means that their game that's going to be good one day doesn't have a review to reflect that, well, that's just as much on the developer as it is the reviewer, if not more so. So
stop blaming the reviewer for bad games.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely ridiculous. And also, like, I've gotten a few comments like this. I know I brought it up on GamesCast before, but on my Thief VR review, I think one of the newest comments is, "Please don't criticize this game, or we might not ever get another Thief game." Bro, I don't fucking care. Okay,
another piece of shit. Yeah,
because my responsibility is not to the developer, it is not to the publisher, it is not for the future of the IP. My responsibility is to the viewers. My responsibility is to help you know whether you should or should not spend your money on this game. So, okay, let's just check out these tips because I don't know if we're actually moving on from this conversation or not yet. Jeremy Miller with the $5 New Zealand says, "Have you ever considered deleting a review if the game has had so many patches and content updates that some of the OG points don't apply anymore?" I mean, I would consider it. Absolutely. I think I deleted my original Polybius review because I did re-review Polybius, and because I was like, I think I just kind of phoned it in at first, and I didn't realize really how great Polybius was at first, and then eventually got kind of hooked on it. And Des and I were talking about it a lot, and I was like, I think we're gonna have like a Polybius day here on Without Parole. I'm gonna delete the old review, I'm gonna upload a new review, and then we're gonna do a Why We Love episode of Polybius. And so yeah, like, listen, like, I'm more than happy to update things when I realize that I'm wrong, or when the game itself has changed enough to warrant it. And if it's a game that I care enough to spend time with. The problem is that, like, you just can't do it for every game, right? I wish I could. I would love to have like the most comprehensive resource on the internet for PSVR1 and PSVR2 games. They're all up to date. It's just impossible. Pietrek F with the 10 Plantain says, "After patches, City of Hunger is better than Gran Turismo 7 and Village." Yeah, exactly. You could patch that game all day, every day, like they've been doing. It feels like City of Hunger gets patched all the time. It is always going to be the game that it is. Although, I don't know, check back in a couple years. Maybe not. Maybe not. So wait, Wes, you think 70 is average? A 7 out of 10 is average?
That's typically the way that I grade when I put numbers on it, and I derive it wholeheartedly from the scale that we were graded on in school.
Yeah.
Right. 100% was excellent, perfect. 80 to 90% was a B, above average. 70 to 79% was a C, that was average. And then below 70 was a D, and below 60% was an F, a failure. So I've always modeled my scores after that, and a lot of other people do as well. And that's all I was pointing out. I'm not saying my way is right or the other way was right, but there is a disconnect there, and I think that this is why.
Yeah, and I agree. That's sort of where I've always been, and I feel like I've sort of melded, whether it was intentional or accidental. I don't know. But like I have definitely put out reviews for games that are I don't know. Maybe I just, because I feel like if you're interested in a game and it gets a 6 out of 10 or a 60%, then you should still be interested in that game. Like whether it's on my scale or Wes's scale or IGN scale or whatever it is, right? Like it's just because again, Made of Scare, I really enjoyed that game. I still gave it a 6 out of 10 because I was like, it needs improvements.
Well, the problem is that for a lot of us, we don't have time to play every game, or we don't have budget to play every game. And once the selection gets so large that there's a lot of excellent games out there to play, some of us, like even if a 7 out of 10 average game is worth playing, like I don't have time to play 7 out of 10s when I could be playing 9 out of 10s. So that's where I'm at. I don't want to play average games. I want to play great games. So what really helps me with your reviews, Brian, I don't pay as much attention to the number you put on it as I do the word right under the number. Like yours will say 8 out of 10, great. So I'm saying, all right, Brian thinks this is a great game. I'm going to check it out. So that really helps me with your reviews specifically. But some people don't give it that. Some people just put the number on at the end, and that is what it is. And that creates a lot of confusion, I feel.
Yep. Makes sense. Also, man, we could go on. We could really go on about this forever. We really could. And I'm trying desperately not to, because I still want to talk about the sale real quick. But I do want to say that the number isn't some mathematical equation, and I absolutely have always hated the way Famitsu used to do it. I don't know if they still do, the way that Switch Up currently does it. These are some different places I watch, and like what they do is they grade the graphics on a scale from 1 to 20, then they grade the audio on a scale from 1 to 20, they grade the controls on a scale from 1 to 20, they grade whatever, and then they add up all those numbers at the end, and they say, this is what we gave the game. And I was like, that doesn't work for me, not even a little bit, because the score shouldn't be a mathematical equation. It should be a feeling you get. How there might be a million things in this game that are terrible, like the graphics could be awful, but I'm having an absolute fucking blast playing it, right? And that's what that score needs to represent. Like, how much fun did I have? How much enjoyment did I have? How much do I recommend it despite all of the bad things about it, or because of all the great things about it, right? No mathematical equation will ever deliver that number to you. But again, review scores don't matter, so just ignore everything I said. All right. All right. We got LA Hembre 2Y Underground Stranger Game Cat with the level 3 membership, saying good to see Wes again. Good to see Wes again. Brian, AJ, Wes, Miles, and all the Game Cats have an awesome time in Vegas. Post lots of photos and videos on Discord since I can't go. Be donating tomorrow. P.S. Fuck Jim Ryan. Also, fuck Jim Ryan. Did you hear this shit?
Yeah, fuck Jim Ryan.
Did you hear this new stuff about him and Shuhei?
Yeah, I have. And you know what? I've really tried to give Jim Ryan the benefit of the doubt for many years.
Same.
I know you guys constantly are throwing him under the bus. Like, I don't think
does. Yeah.
I don't think he's as responsible for as much of the PSVR2 mishandling as a lot of people do. So I've always kind of been like, he was the one that came out front and center and said, we believe in VR. We just don't think its time is now. Its time will come, and we want to support it because we know that. I've always appreciated that from Jim Ryan. And I've been hesitant to throw him under the bus. But in light of what Shuhei has said about him and what has come out over the last week, fuck Jim Ryan, fuck him in his ass, and to hell with that guy. I can't believe that.
Yeah, what a piece of shit. Like this is when the bad guys win, right? That's what happens. When the bad guys win, Jim Ryan gets into control and Shuhei basically gets fired from Sony. Shuhei should have been fucking running Sony all of this time. He should have been in charge of the PlayStation division because he understands gaming in a way that Jim Ryan never has. And so I read that and I was like, fuck you, Jim Ryan. Like I was more mad at Jim Ryan during reading that than I was about anything else that's come up in the last few years. Absolutely insane. I hate when the bad guys win.
it goes back to exactly what we were talking about 20 minutes ago, about how the people who used to run shit cared about gaming and they cared about the user experience. Shuhei is a prime example of that. That guy cares about gaming. Even now, he's out of Sony now. Like, he's a free agent and he's doing a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes. But guys like that are what we need to get things back on track in this industry. And you're right. He understands that what you said is true. This is art. In many cases, the ones that are worth playing and looking at, that's art. And people put so much into it, and people can take so much out of it. He gets it, and we need people like that get it, to really get back to what we were 20 years ago, so that we can proceed on to even greater heights.
Yep. Random Toxie says, can you imagine where Sony and PSVR2 could be if Shuhei was still in charge? Yeah, that's all we can do is imagine, and I can only imagine things would be much, much better than they are.
Imagine all the people playing Astrobot.
I couldn't do the hee-hees, now I can't do the woo. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Wes, I dream that we've already talked about the sale, but that's not the case. We need to talk about the sale. Do you need a link to that? I think I dropped one for us earlier. Here, it's this
I got
right
it. I think
you got it. All right.
Yep.
We're gonna rapid fire this. We're just gonna maybe throw a game or two from each page of the sale, because there's 3 sales going on right now. The Easter sale, the Hut Deal sale, and Big Games Big Deal sale, with 183 results on the PlayStation Store. This could have been the entire episode today, but we love you more than that. We love you so much more than that. We would never just read through a sale and call that an episode. We have done that so many times.
we have done, yeah, and there will be many more times where we do that.
Hey, sometimes it's slow news weeks. You got to take what you can get.
I've got an empty suitcase today that needs to be packed. So,
yep.
We're not going to read off every excellent game that's on here, because many of these games are always on sale, and some of them are on decent sales when they could be on better sales.
Exactly. So just because we skipped a great game doesn't mean we don't love it or don't recommend it. It just means it probably needs to be on a better sale. However, Resident Evil 4 remake for $16, 60% off. I mean, come on. What are you doing with your life if you haven't bought and played this game yet? That's my first pick. What do you got?
I'm going to go with Metro Awakening for $20, half off. An excellent game that probably should have more people playing it. So
hell yeah,
that's my first pick.
Metro Awakening is my favorite Arizona Sunshine game so far. Fuck man, lots of great games. Into the Radius, 40% off, save 5% more with Plus. Into the Radius, single player extraction shooter, basically made me fall in love with all sorts of mechanics I thought were really dumb before I played it. So highly recommend it. And by the way, VR Monkey did an amazing job porting it.
Word. I'm going to do 2 at once right now. I want to shout out Behemoth really quick for being another underrated great game for $20. I definitely recommend it for that price. But while I'm at it, how about the OG GOAT, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, for $10? If you don't have that, then you need to have that yesterday. That's an excellent game for not much money.
Highly agree. Shit, man, I can't go on to the next page yet because I want to say Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. A shocker to me because I am not the biggest Star Wars fan. I lightsabers are fun, I guess, right? But I didn't expect to care much about this. Great PSVR2 version, and some of the best adaptive trigger and haptic support you will ever feel outside of like shooting a weapon. The gadgets in this game, the tools you use, they feel so good to use. $10 instead of $40. Highly recommend. Next page.
Sure. But as we switch, I am going to shout out Alien Rogue Incursion VR Deluxe Edition for $12.49.
The deluxe edition. Off. The deluxe edition for $12.50. Holy shit, that is a great deal. Deluxe edition. Switchback needs to be cheaper for me to get excited about it. I will say I'm gonna override Wes's suggestion from the last page on Saints and Sinners. Just get Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 and 2 for $10 more. It's only $20. Man, you're gonna get so much gameplay out of these games. And the port of Chapter 2 Retribution. Oh my god, like the highest resolution you've seen on PSVR2. It just looks incredible.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if you're buying your PSVR2, you just got it today. You need to own this collection. You need to own Hitman. You need to own Gran Turismo and Resident Evil Collection 4 and 8. If you have those 4 titles, you don't need anything else. You're good for a year.
Get Of Lies and Rain. Buy Of Lies and Rain. Support Of Lies and Rain. I love that game.
We talked a little bit about Green Hell VR earlier. It happens to be on sale as well. $10 right now, and you get an extra 5% off if you're a Plus subscriber.
Yep, highly recommended. And I'm not going to get too much further down the list. Hubris, a game I gave a 9 out of 10 to a year or two ago. I can only imagine that holds up. Great climbing, swimming, crafting, everything. It's $7. Go buy it. That's it. You're next. After the Fall, Complete Edition. You want to talk about great adaptive trigger implementation. Yep. You want to talk about fun with friends. $6.99 on sale right now, and you get an extra $2 off of that if you're a Plus subscriber. That brings it to less than $5. You should pick it up. Yep. Going to the next page. Oh, get Rush Apex, but I'm still going to the next page. Rush Apex is only $11. Yep. Scanning. You know what? I'll just go on a binary mill kick. Get Rush VR, but also get Resist. Resist was, this when I talk about a great 7 out of 10 game, I'm talking about Resist. You get big open city, lots of like mini games to play. You get to swing around like Spider-Man. Like, buy it. It's save 5% more, so it was $12 or something on sale. Yeah, good stuff. Propagation Paradise Hotel. Not a long game by any means, but high quality experience for those of you who love horror. It's typically when we talk about zombie games, we'll make that caveat that this is a zombie game. It's not really a horror game. I feel like Propagation Paradise Hotel kind of falls in the middle. It is a zombie shooter, but it's not your typical zombie shooter. It's a lot more horror-fied than like an Arizona Sunshine or a Walking Dead would be. So $6.99 for Propagation Paradise Hotel is great. Yep. Very short, but I mean, come on. Now you can't complain about it being short because it's $7. It's so good. I totally missed that, by the way. I went right to Resist. I'm going to the next page unless you want to hang out here. I'm surprised you didn't mention Iron Guard Salvation at $15. I love it, man, but it's only on sale. It's only a $2 sale. Okay, I got it. That's a good point. Yeah, let's go to the next page. And I'm doing a giveaway, so like make sure you enter the giveaway. I'll be picking some winners tomorrow over on Discord. Hellsweeper for $10. Come on, deluxe Hellsweeper Deluxe Edition for $10. They're just giving it away. So good. I'm going to go ahead and call out 90s Extreme Skiing because Game Kato has been so generous for the fundraising that I feel I owe him that. At least this game is on sale for $10, and you'll get an extra $1 off if you're a Plus subscriber. Oh yeah, thanks Game Kato. That was definitely worthwhile. Scanning. I don't know, man. I'm almost ready to move on to the next page. There's good stuff. Towers and Powers for $8. Paint the Town Red for $10. Sticks out. True. But yeah, that's it for this page. Yeah. Let's see, page 5. Not too bad. Dude, I've heard great things about Captain Toonhead. I still haven't played it. I really want to go back because I do love tower defense games, and especially in VR. And this is supposed to be one of the best ones, but I haven't played it. That's good.
It's really good. It has personality. Definitely worth checking out. Titan Isles is one of the best games on PlayStation VR2. Although I will say this, I haven't played much of it on PSVR2. I played it primarily on PC. But unless it was a shit port, which I don't think it was, I love Titan Isles a lot more than Brian does. 1749, 30% off. Pick it up.
Well said. City of Hunger's on sale, you guys. Man, I'm looking for the big sales, looking for the really great ones. I don't know, man. I'm ready to move on to the next page, unless you get something to shout out. Dude,
honorable mention for iRobot, probably the best Jeff Minter game of this generation.
Okay. I'm going to shout out another bot, and that's Border Bots. Looks amazing in the headset. Very papers, please of them. $5. Say it's really fun. It got real hard for me at some point. I never finished it, but yeah.
How about some bundles, Brian? Arcade Paradise VR and 10 Hearts bundled together for $10.
I'm not a 10 Hearts fan, but I'm a massive Arcade Paradise fan, so I'll go to bat for that. Unless Arcade Paradise is by itself somewhere for cheaper. But yeah, $10 can't go wrong.
Also, Best of VR Kiwi bundle right next to it with Cave Digger, Stilt, Towers, and Powers all bundled together for $30. Now, listen, if any of you out there are PC gamers, you can get those 3 titles plus 7 more bundled on top of it for $10 right now on Humble Bundle. So there's a VR Kiwi bundle over there as well, and basically has their whole deal with the hunting game, like with all of them are in there for $10. But if you're not on PC, I think $30 for these 3 games is pretty good, and you get an extra 5% if you're a Plus subscriber.
Of those, Stilt is definitely my favorite. So if we see Stilt on sale here separately, I'm all about it. I'm gonna move to the next page. Yes, you good?
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right,
Unless you want to take a moment to shit on Dreams of Another, but
I mean that always feels worthwhile.
all right, let's go. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. I mean, I'm looking, man. I'm looking. It's I feel like Oregon Quarter is always on sale for that much. Waiting for a deeper sale. I'm ready to go to the last page.
Sure. Me too.
All right, cool. Again, Red Matter Collection is awesome, but again, I feel like it's been on sale for this much and maybe even cheaper. So while those are phenomenal games, I don't know, man. Maybe wait for a better sale. You got anything?
I just have a couple of questions. One, Sweet Surrender, I think is pretty good, but it was early access when I played it, and I haven't played it on PlayStation. They have it here for $17.49. I feel like that's pretty decent for that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a little overpriced at $25, especially compared to RoboQuest, which came out after, which was also $25, and RoboQuest is so much better. I feel like Sweet Surrender, if it goes on sale for like $5 or $10, definitely pick it up. But hey, I said if Stilt is on sale by itself, here we go. It's $10. I love Stilt. Stilt's one of the best 3D platformers on PSVR 2.
And my final question is a question I actually picked up from the chat about an hour ago.
What's that?
And that is Foglands at $7.49. Foglands was a big disappointment. It wasn't the worst game I ever played. Nope. And I haven't been back to it since launch. I don't know what they've done to improve it, if they've done anything to improve it. I did see potential there for them to fix it. It was fixable. The problems I had with that game, they were fixable problems. There were a lot of them, but they were fixable. Have they done any work to that end, or is it still just shitty? And even if it is still in the state that it was, like $7.49 is not a lot of money.
It's not a lot of money. However, for the Foglands, what's funny is I have a horrible memory, but I kind of remember when I was saying earlier, like that I felt like I did a good job with the Made a Scare review, where I was like, at the end, if they improve the resolution, add a point. If they add the DLC, add another point, right? I feel like I did this all the way back when the Foglands launched, and I did my review then. I said, I don't even think there's a good game underneath all the bugs. Underneath all the issues, even if they fix everything, I don't think there's anything worthwhile here. And I know that was a harsh thing to say, but I but I think it was accurate.
When you say stuff about that, stuff like that about games, I've disagreed with you so many times that I don't take it to heart, because sometimes you just miss, in my opinion.
It's okay.
I had that hope when I went into the Foglands, but you were right. Like, I had hoped you were amplifying the negatives too much and not looking at the positives. No, it was bad. It was boring. It was just boring to play. The enemy AI was terrible. The maps had good size to them, but they were hard to navigate. It was hard to find your way around in them. And the roguelite elements of the game seemed like they were just tacked on, like they didn't make that like meaningful enough. It was just like, well, we decided we're going to make this a roguelite, so you have to go and redo things over and over again in it that you didn't have fun the first time with. So yeah, I felt like it needed a lot of work. I liked the art direction of it. I felt like there were some tangible things they could have done to make that like a 7 out of 10. I feel like an average game, maybe slightly above average. But again, I don't know if they ever did any of those things. I think if they had, I would have heard about it. Yeah.
Yep. Also, Running Man in the chat just gave Cryman Mercenary Tales a shout out. A game that I have had a review key for. It's been installed on my PlayStation since it came out, and I have never even started it up. So I think we can trust Running Man. Running Man and I go way back, right? Way back to moments ago. And so, but I have heard, I know that Miles played through at least the first chapter or so and said it was pretty good. So $5 sounds pretty good.
I like Cryman. It's an average game. Like, it's not a bad game. I would say it's an average game. My problem with it on PlayStation is when I tried to play it on PlayStation, I had a game-breaking bug that I couldn't get past. Like fighting the first like mini boss in the game. I think it's like the second level, maybe. It stopped registering my attacks on it. Like, there was a certain thing you have to do to block attacks and then counter attack, and the first couple would land, but the third one was some kind of a special attack, and that didn't register in the game. And I tried, starting over from scratch, a new save. I tried going back to it, I couldn't get past it. I kept getting locked there. I assume they fixed that by now. But yeah, it was unfortunate. I wanted to go much deeper into the game on PlayStation, and I couldn't. I got locked due to a game-breaking bug.
Well, that's a shame. Hopefully that doesn't happen for everybody. Hopefully
they fixed it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because
it was at launch. It wasn't before launch, but so like that was the thing, is that like it was, the game had launched at that point. It was like the first week or two after launch, and yeah, broken like that. Not good.
I could be wrong. I listen. I just want to give a shout out to a couple people here, because there was some donations to the GoFundMe. One of them was 4 hours ago from Robert Arden. Thank you so much for your support. Another one was 40 minutes ago from Harlan Foster. Thank you for your support. But it seems like there's another one that hasn't been registered yet. So we appreciate everyone who's been helping out. Desperately trying to get to at least 11,000 if possible, if not the full 12,000. But thank you guys so much for your support. Hopefully tomorrow we can raise the rest of what we need with some last minute live streams. You guys are fucking incredible. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and just so people know, Brian didn't just arbitrarily increase the number because we hit our goal and now we want to make more money. There are legitimate costs that have been worked in since the initial goal. Stuff tied to us, our ability to create content while we're on the ground there. And that's the reason why the goal line shifted. It wasn't just so that we can milk it or whatever. So yeah, thank you to the people who continue to donate. It is going to something worthwhile and something that we're going to be able, hopefully, to pay back to you in the form of content.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely not trying to screw you over. Is anybody? I love that you brought that up though. I was like, wait a minute. Are people saying that? Is that a thing? Is that the word on the
No,
street?
but that's what if I wasn't tuned in and I was just some casual viewer, I would be thinking that. That's
Yeah.
what I would be thinking. So
My mom definitely accused me of that yesterday when I saw her. She was like, I thought you reached your goal, and I was like, we could never reach our goal. No. No, it's funny because I started sending you money, and because what GoFundMe used to say, you used to hold on to the money, and then we'd get it all in like one lump sum, and then I could go distribute it. They just keep sending me money every 2 days. Like it just gets dumped in my checking account, and so I've been trying,
Weird.
kind of keep track of everything and all that, and so I was like, I just need to start sending you guys some money. And so I send everybody, $2,500 a piece and blah, 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 blah. And then it wasn't until after I started doing that I realized, I was like, wait a minute, I didn't account for fees in the $800 room I've got to rent. And I was like, shit, we definitely need a little bit more money.
Yeah.
So
if need be, I don't want to speak for the other guys, but if need be, we can kick some back to you here.
No.
I knew what you did when you did it. So no worries.
No, listen, this is all of this is no, but thank you. Yeah, I'm just an idiot. So wait, what are we doing? We gotta play a 4-minute challenge is what we gotta do. You ready to do a 4-minute challenge? Good.
Absolutely.
All right. Then I've got a game already picked out in my head right up here, and it's up to you guys out there in West right here to figure out what game that is. You've only got 4 minutes, but an infinite number of yes or no questions to ask. So make sure you ask good questions in the chat. Yes or no questions. And then based on the answers you get, suggest games that it might be. I can't find the timer. That's why I'm speaking so slowly, because I'm trying to find the fucking timer to put on the screen. Wes, are you ready?
I am ready, sir. As ready as I can be.
Perfect. Well, let me bring up the store listing here so that I'm not looking for it after the timer starts. I don't want to AJ the fuck out of this. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but AJ has AJ the fuck out of things more than I've ever thought possible. He has reached new depths of AJing the fuck out of things.
Depths.
Yo, it's depths, all right. But at least it was funny, man. He had me cracking up the last time. It was great. All right, let's do this. On your mark. Get Des. Go.
Did we mention this game today, Brian, during the episode?
We did not.
Did not. Is this a PSVR2 game?
Nope.
PSVR1 then. Okay. Is it on other platforms?
Yes. Steam and Quest. Yes.
Steam and Quest.
Yep.
So this is a Gen 1 multi-platform game. Is it tied to a known franchise?
No.
So it's not a known franchise. Is it first person?
Yes.
Full locomotion?
No.
Not full locomotion. Is it teleport?
I think there may be a few instances of it, but for the most part, you're staying put.
Stationary. Okay. So like of the movement is it like node based?
Yes, I believe so.
So there are some nodes, but mostly stationary game.
Mm-hmm.
Would you call it like a rail shooter?
No.
Shooter. Would you call it a wave shooter?
I wouldn't even call it a shooter, Wes.
Is there combat at all?
No.
There's no combat. Stationary mostly with some movement. Is it a puzzle game?
Yes. Yes, it is.
It's a puzzle game. Would you call it like story driven?
Yeah, I would say so.
Is it good?
Yeah.
It is a good puzzle game. Is it horror themed?
No.
It's not horror themed. Is it, well, you said it wasn't based on a known IP. Let me clarify on that because you said no. Is it based on a gaming franchise?
It is part of a gaming franchise. Yeah.
Okay.
It is not based on
right.
anything outside of gaming, though. It's not an IP that you recognize outside of gaming.
And there are installments of this franchise that are not VR, correct?
No. All all installments of this game are VR.
Because I was thinking maybe it would be The Room VR, but The Room is definitely outside of VR. No, it couldn't be that. Sci-fi themed.
I'm sure there's like sci-fi elements, yeah, but mostly I would say mostly grounded in real world.
Okay.
A little sci-fi though, a little bit. Just don't focus on that too much.
What are the good Gen 1 stationary puzzlers, people, that are multi-platform? It's not horror. There's some light sci-fi elements to it.
You have 1 minute left.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of some good examples to narrow it down. Does it support move controllers?
Yes.
Okay. Does it support DualShock?
Let me check. No DualShock.
This is from a franchise, though. It can be torn. The art style is realistic, you'd say?
That's such a good question. I would say a mix of realism and slightly cartoony. It's more realistic than a cartoony game, but it's not cartoony. And I wouldn't say, yeah, it errs on the side of realism, but has a slight cartooniness to it.
Yeah.
I'll give you one more question and a guess.
Okay. I am stumped. Let's no, couldn't be that. Couldn't be that either. Oh God. Are the puzzles primarily light puzzles?
Light puzzles? Oh,
Yeah,
like based
light and
about
shadow.
light and shadow. No. Nope.
It's not that. Do I just have a guess now? I don't have shit, man. I think I'm stumped. I can't even think of it. Like I'll say can't be that. I'll say it even though I know it's not correct. Is it I Expect You to Die?
Wes, coming out all the way back on August 24th of 2021. It is I Expect You to Die 2. The Spy in the Lair.
Oh, good play, man. Good play. I would call that completely cartoony, not the least bit realism.
It's tough because I was looking at the screenshots as we were talking about it, and I was like, well, cartoony you think about flat shaded polygons or cell shadedness, and I was like, a lot of the stuff is like it's not exaggerated size wise. It looks fair. I don't know. Chat, tell me, am I wrong? Is this
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter because I guessed it anyway, but I guessed one from the series anyway.
I think
but I was sure
enough.
it wasn't that. I was sure that it wasn't going to be correct because you said it was going for realism. When I don't think it is. Yeah. But anyways, good show. Good pick. And yeah, whoever put me on that Twitcher, good call, Twitcher.
Also,
where's Looper at today, by the way?
Suspiciously absent. Is he midair? Yeah. Is he mid-flight? Did he pack his bags pre-flight?
Possibly.
Yeah. Also, dear Shell Games, we don't care that you don't support PSVR2 anymore. We understand you have a business to run and you've got other priorities. But we never got I Expect You to Die 3 on PSVR1 even, or PSVR2. We never got I Expect You to Die 1 or 2 on PSVR2. How about you bring the whole trilogy over as one bundle and you force us to buy the whole thing for $60? Come on. Is that a deal? Shell Games, huh?
People won't buy it for $60.
I'll buy it for $40
on it. Put $40 on it and people will buy that.
Well, see what you got to do, Wes. And I talked to too many developers who think this way. It's most developers, by the way. Most publishers too. You got to overprice it a little bit at launch. So the first sale comes along and you're like $20 off. That's such a great deal, which is really the price that they should have priced it at initially, right? They because they know they're going to sell a certain number of copies on day one anyway.
Right.
So yeah, maybe
that would probably work for them, with this being a known franchise and kind of in the upper echelon of VR games, like in terms of games people know about and people know that they're quality games. They might could get away with that. If it were anyone else though that were just bringing along some average games or something, like that philosophy doesn't work. Overpricing it slightly on launch day will bite you in the ass. People will rake you over the coals for overpricing the game. So
listen, I'm trying to convince Shell Games to bring the trilogy over and telling them to just price it at $60, and then we'll all wait for the first sale.
We'll buy it for sure. $60 all day, man. Bring it along.
Right? Absolutely.
Bring us the vampire game. How about that? That's something that needs to be on PSVR2. Is their vampire game that they released last year?
The mini game that we played at PAX a couple years ago.
Yeah, essentially.
Well, it felt like a mini game. It
felt like a mini game. Yeah,
it felt like a FNAF mini game, is what it felt like. But yeah, that's right. I completely forgot about that until you just brought it up.
That's why, because there was nothing in between the puzzles. Like, you should have to find the vampires in the castle and then do the puzzles to kill them. But you know, for what it's worth, the puzzles were cool. They were fun. There was tension, you know, when you were working your way through it. What was there was really well done. I just felt like there were some gaps, some opportunities that they left on the table.
Hell yeah. Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat with the Australian $5 says, Wes, just got a Luke Ross email. Crimson Desert nearly done for PCVR.
Nice. Kudos to Luke Ross for figuring out a way forward. I've got about a dozen Luke Ross emails in my inbox I have not had time to read yet, but he's figured it out. He's got a free version. He's moved his model now to where instead of charging everyone, he's giving Patreon timed exclusivity, and then everyone gets it for free at a certain point. So kudos to him for figuring out a way that he can do it and legally do it without having to worry about people shutting him down for charging money. So yeah, cool.
Amazing.
Thank you, Grandpa, for the information.
Also, I really want to play Crimson Desert. I really do. This is a game that got a 6 out of 10 that like just sounds right up my alley. I really want to play it. So it's so funny. It's so funny listening to people talk about this game because they're all having radically different experiences. Some of them are like 100 hours in and like, I haven't seen anything from the trailer yet. It's like, what? That's insane to me. I haven't played a game that big in a long, long time.
Size does matter, Brian.
That's what I've heard, but I've never heard any complaints. I'm gonna roll the credits here, but everyone stay tuned to the post credit scene because we've got some more people to thank. But you guys are awesome. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel in whatever way that you do, whether it be with the GoFundMe or Patreon or tipping during the show or whatever it is. Maybe you just hang out and watch the show and talk and stuff in the chat. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're Twitcher and just complain about everything that I do all the time. Maybe you're that, right? But we love you no matter what. You guys are fucking incredible, and you let us do what we love for a living, and we'll never ever be able to repay you for that. So, thank you. And shout out to everybody who watches the show. Doesn't say a goddamn word. Listen, sometimes that's really appreciated. But we know you're out there, and we love you just as much. Happy Wednesday, Wes.
Happy Wednesday, Brian. Happy Wednesday, cats. I will see you tomorrow. Friday. Probably Friday.
Friday, yeah, probably Friday. All right, let's go. Shout out to, I'm not going to read a last name because I shouldn't be reading any last names because some people are donating with their GameCat moniker and some people are just donating with their real name. And so I'm going to give a shout out to Alexander, who donated $100 to the GoFundMe just 10 minutes ago. Thank you very, very much. It is crazy that we're not doing a show on Friday or Monday, and that the next time we do a show, the four of us will be together, Wes, in Vegas, filming in person. And I'm very, very excited for that.
I'm excited for it as well. This should be a lot of fun. We should have cool stuff to talk about, and yeah, a live studio audience. It's going to be great.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Tornado's been meowing at me for like the last 5 minutes, so I'm going to go pay attention to her now. But we love you guys. Have a